How's it going, YouTube? It is Docky or Docky Style Gaming, and we are back at it with another Anthem news and info video for you all today. Now, this video is a day late, but I did want to make the most of yesterday with my day off from streaming to make as many videos as I could, because next week is the Thanksgiving week and I will be out of town. So I have a bunch of videos planned for next week, even though technically I won't actually be home to post videos, but I do have them scheduled to release on certain days come next week so that there will still be content on the channel. So the two videos I had planned for yesterday are actually going to drop today, and here is one of them. So in this new Anthem news and info videos, just some of the information that we're going to be going over is, of course, the developer tweets. We're going to be taking a new look at the Ranger. We're going to be going over some storm nerfs and changes, surprisingly, ways to get increased loot and XP, going over a bit of the lore and controls and so much more. So definitely watch the whole video all the way through. So without further ado, let's hop straight into the new news and info video, starting with the developer tweets. So in this round of developer tweets, let's start with the coolest, in my opinion, of one of the developer tweets, and this comes from Chad Robinson, who posted an image, a new look at the Ranger in this new silver and chrome color palette. It looks pretty dope, and he put in captions to Terminator on the tweet, and I definitely get a Terminator vibe, or at least like an Iron Man Mark II, or maybe even an Iron Man Mark I vibe from it, but it does look pretty dope nonetheless. If you zoom into the image, you can actually see the shine and the chrome metallics of that silver paint job that the Ranger has on it. So it does look pretty dope. The next developer tweet comes from Mike Gamble, and when asked if this game is a corridor shooter or a lane shooter, Mike Gamble did have to say that some adventures take you to tombs, caves, or otherwise more enclosed spaces, but the world is yours to explore, and this isn't a corridor shooter. And then the last developer tweet comes from John Warner, where he posted a link to Dark Horse Comics, and we are getting a Anthem prequel comic, and Dark Horse has made comics like Hellboy, Sin City, things like that. The writer of this comics is Mac Walters. He's wrote Mass Effect Foundation, Alexander Freed. He's also worked on a bunch of stuff as well. And then the artist for this comic is Eduardo Francisco, who has done artwork for DC Comics, mainly known for his Infinite Crisis story arc, which is actually a very good multiverse story arc. So if you haven't read that, I definitely highly recommend it. But the team for this comic does look pretty decent, and then we also have a brief synopsis on what to expect from this comic. The synopsis states we will follow a young boy named Kismet who is rescued by Yarrow, and actually here's an image of Yarrow if you haven't seen him. We know he is an ex-freelancer and one of the people that we will be able to interact with in Fort Tarsis. The summary continues, Yarrow, who is one of the freelancers who suited up in one of those epic javelins seen in the game, suddenly orphaned. The new comic series will follow both he and his adoptive sister Janny, or Yanny, I don't know how they're going to pronounce that, but I guess we'll see, in a fight for a better future, both for themselves and humanity. And then it says the first issue will be out February 27th, 2019, which is 5 days after the official release of Anthem. So, being a comic book head, I'm pretty happy to hear that we're going to get a comic tie-in for the game. I always love more lore, and I love more information in general. I kind of wish it was before the game, especially considering it's a prequel, but there might be some spoiler stuff in there, so I guess it's understandable on why it's being released after the game. And with the comic book out of the way, that will actually end our developer tweets. Now let's hop into the main meat of this video, which are the question tweets, and all of these actually come from Mark Dara, and there are a lot of them. So let's break these down right away and get into all the new tweets. So this first tweet to Mark Dara was asking if we would have wood javelins, or javelins made out of a wood material. And Mark Dara did have to say we do have different materials for our javelins, but wood is not currently one of them. Wood in a rainforest environment definitely wouldn't work, especially considering most of these weapons could probably set you on fire. Next tweet was asking about the day and night cycle, and Mark Dara did say the day and night cycle does run faster than the real world. Now there's still no word on the official time of each cycle, but there will be a day and night cycle, and there is also this tweet that follows up into it. When asked about the time in Anthem, Mark Dara did say Anthem is running on its game time. time and is synced to servers, not real world time. Again, doesn't really give us too much information on what the time is going to be like in Anthem or how long each cycle is going to be, but it's not real world time and that's all we know, which makes sense. Most games don't really run on real world time anymore as is. This next tweet from Mark Darrow was just him confirming that there will be inverted flight controls for Anthem. So for all you crazy people who like to fly with inverted controls, boom, there you go. This next tweet was Mark Darrow, and I've covered this before, but Mark Darrow confirming that there will be multiple loadouts for your Javelin when he was asked about it. Now this next tweet is pretty interesting, and they've kind of hinted at it, but I'm glad they gave us a bit more information on it. And Mark Darrow did confirm that there will be enemies that have resistance and are weaker to certain elements in the game. So it'll probably be both weapon elements and our actual gear attachment elements. Considering most of the stuff that we do in the game is combo based, it definitely makes sense that there will be enemy resistance or enemies that are weaker to certain elements, so I'm glad to hear that in the game. And it'll change up the gameplay flow a bit more when it comes to loading out your weapons, depending on what type of enemy faction you're going to face in the game. So I'm definitely happy to hear that. This next tweet was something that I've actually covered before, but he also did go on to say that it does something else as well. So we know there's a Freelancer perk that not only can increase our flight, but according to Mark Darrow, it also applies to our hovers as well. So not only is there a perk that can make us fly longer, that flight perk will also increase how long we can hover too. So I think that's pretty dope, and I'm glad to hear that as well. Now this next tweet, I guess you could kind of take and make of it as you want. But according to Mark Darrow, the damage mitigation ability like the shield for the Colossus or the overshield for the Storm is not a gear slot, potentially meaning that they won't be interchangeable ever. The fact that we have a gear slot for our ultimate and a gear slot for our melee leaves the possibility open for them to introduce new melees and ultimates via gear slot. But the fact that our damage mitigation abilities aren't gear slot based, it seems like those abilities are going to be pretty much with us throughout the course of Anthem's run. Now again, this could change, but according to Mark Darrow, they aren't gear slots, so pretty much don't expect any new ones anytime soon. This next tweet was asking if there is a difference between free play and story mode, and Mark Darrow did say free play is when you leave Fort Tarsus without a mission selected, which is useful for exploration, gathering, crafting, materials, events, lore, ... so potentially even more, which is always happy to hear. Now these next two nerfs are for the Storm Master race. Now the first tweet is about the Storm's hover and changes to the Storm's hover, which we've seen in the gameplay, where he can't actually hover infinitely anymore. And Mark Darrow did confirm that yes, this was recently changed because it was too OP in their eyes. So apparently it was too overpowered for the unlimited Storm hover. Now when we saw in the most recent gameplay, technically he can hover infinitely, but the second his shield goes out, his hover goes out. So if you want to hover infinitely, you pretty much have to make sure you have full shield, or your shield at least doesn't deplete all the way. And then this next tweet about the Storm was actually about the Storm's shield, and they were asking if it's completely invulnerable. And no, it isn't. The Storm's shield isn't completely invulnerable. Mark Darrow did say it does have a durability, which again, it makes sense. I understand they want to balance that character because that would be kind of OP, infinitely hovering with the shield that reduces all damage, but hopefully that durability is a pretty high durability, especially considering how squishy the Storm can be. I mean, you know, glass cannon and all. Now this next tweet to Mark Darrow was something I've covered as well, but I see he gets asked a lot, and I even see it being asked in my comment section. But Mark Darrow did confirm that yes, there will be a lore codex in the game. So for all you people who love hunting out lore, there is a bunch to find in game, and there will be a codex in the game. So no need to go off game to a whole nother site to find out the lore of the game that you're playing. Destiny. But yeah, pretty much enjoy your unlimited lore in a game. Now this next tweet is actually pretty interesting and is going to change the way on how I actually intend on playing the game now. So according to Mark Darrow, changing the difficulty will not only increase your loot, but it'll also increase your XP. So I guess I know what difficulty I'll be playing on when the game releases, but that is pretty interesting of note. Now knowing that you can change your difficulty for all the missions or any of the missions, I wonder if they'll be replayable and you can go back and do them on other difficulties for more experience and more more loot even after you've completed the game. Now, this next tweet to Mark Dara was something I've also seen in the comment section, but Mark Dara did confirm that we can choose whatever Javelin to unlock at our level thresholds. So the level thresholds aren't set to a specific Javelin, so you're not locked at a Colossus at the first threshold or a Storm at the second threshold. Each of the thresholds you can pick whichever Javelin you want to unlock first, or in whichever order you want to do. This next tweet was asking about legacy control support, and Mark Dara did say that Anthem will support legacy controls. So for those of you who are interested, there you go, support for legacy controls. Next tweet was another tweet that we actually haven't got in a while, but because we haven't, I guess I'll put it in here. But they were asking about PvP and if Anthem will have it, and Mark Dara did say no PvP at launch. Originally, it was just no, and they had all these reasons on why this is a PvE game, but don't even give people hope like that. We don't need PvP in Anthem. But that's just me. I know people do want PvP in Anthem. If you want PvP in Anthem, let me know in the comment section why. I'd like to know your guys' thoughts. This next tweet asked Mark Dara how Shaper Storms will affect gameplay, and Mark Dara just said we aren't discussing the weather and the likes at the moment. So I guess we'll probably see that in another live stream, hopefully, because that is something I've actually been curious about ever since they showed it off in the 2017 gameplay trailer. So hopefully those events are crazy dynamic, or maybe they're holding it off because it's going to serve a bigger purpose in the story. This next tweet to Mark Dara was him pretty much just confirming that there is a air brake system that lets you slow down mid-air so you can get your Iron Man on if you really want to. This next tweet was pretty much just asking if we'd start the game in Fort Tarsus, and Mark Dara did say at the start of the game, after the tutorials, we will indeed start in Fort Tarsus. So we'll be able to customize our Javelin straight away after the tutorials if we really want to in the Forge and whatnot. This next tweet was asking about the Ranger's new support ability, which is essentially a Titan bubble that, according to Mark Dara, you can in fact shoot through, which is pretty interesting, which is actually going to change up the dynamics of a team a lot, especially having a Ranger on the team with that support ability equipped. I feel like that's going to be a pretty essential tool in combat. And I actually have a brand new Javelin breakdown on the Ranger that will be coming out next week that'll go over all of the brand new support abilities and gear attachments and weapons and whatnot on the Ranger. I'll be doing it on all 4 of the Javelin, so definitely stay tuned for that. And then this last tweet is pretty much for all those players who think they could kind of get away with scamming the Origin or EA Access for a free skin. According to Mark Dara, if you get the Legion of Dawn edition through the EA Premier Access and then unsubscribe and just buy the $60 version of the game, you will keep all of your characters in progress, but you will lose your Legion of Dawn skins because you didn't pre-order the game and only had it through the EA or the Origin Premier Access. So if you want those limited edition skins, you gotta pre-order the game. So with that being the last tweet from Mark Dara, that is all I got for this video. So like always, thank you guys for watching. I will be streaming tonight as well at 8 p.m. Central Time. I still don't know what I'm going to stream first or right away. I might stream Warframe because the unvaulting did just happen yesterday, and the Act Vasto Primes just came out, which are brand new weapons, meaning new items to farm for and new mastery. But yesterday, Nuketown just came out on Black Ops 4, so I might stream that and get some gameplay in. Let me know in the comment section which one of those games you'd like to see me play on stream tonight, and whichever one I see has the most in the comment section is the one that I'll go with on stream. So, like always, if you haven't already, go follow me on all of my social media accounts. It really helps out the channel. It helps out with sponsors as well. If you haven't already and want to support the channel, I do have a Patreon link to all of that is in the video description. Again, thank you all for watching to the end, for all of you who did. Thanks for the love. Thanks for the subs. Thank you all for getting me to 5,000 subs, by the way. You all are definitely the best. I will catch y'all on the next one. Peace.